And I have all of my MC notes here, which is wonderful because my laptop, where I've actually written my MC notes, is actually busy running this slide, which was going to stay this way while I'm talking to you about getting started. So it's really not doing the heavy lifting here. And had I been clever enough to hook up my tablet to the projector, I could have actually done this on my PC. But then I couldn't do this and walk around while I welcome you to the Amazon Developer Day here at GDC. Guys, thank you very much for coming. I appreciate your being here a couple days early before the General Expo starts. It means a lot to us to have you here in the audience. Today, what we would like to do is get back to my notes so that I can, there we go, talk to you about some of the basic logistics stuff. Restrooms, as you may know, out the door, go to your right, all the way at the end of the hall. Wi-Fi, slow, that really hasn't changed much since last year. There is no code that you guys can enter or password that you can come up with that actually makes it go faster. So what you get is, what you have is what you get. Also, if you have one of these, go ahead and keep it on because really there's a lot of stuff you're going to want to take pictures of. But do actually put it on, silent. Actually, that'd be a pretty good idea for me too, wouldn't it? That would be embarrassing. All right, and we have some special guests in the audience that I'd like to call out, particularly two people we have from Amazon Recruiting. Amazon Recruiting, guys, would you stand up, turn around, wave your hands? If you would like to do what we're doing here, if you'd like to work with Amazon, we'd love to have you talk to these two, find out what jobs are available, and perhaps join the Amazon team. That would be fantastic. What we kind of hope that we're going to get out of the sessions today is helping you with indie dev success. It doesn't mean that if you're part of a AAA studio, you're going to have a miserable time here today. You'll probably still learn something. But we really wanted to help focus on teaching indie developers some of the new services that are available, particularly from AWS, that might help you save a lot of time and money that you may not be familiar with. We also want to make sure that you understand how easy it is to integrate some of the Amazon APIs if you're developing using Unity. And just from my guess, maybe just a little less than half of you are probably using Unity. I'm not going to make you raise your hands yet. That's later today. I also want to share with you guys some of the stuff that we've learned at Amazon and that I've learned kind of the hard way about being a scrappy, agile game developer. If you guys are working in a 1 to 3 or 1 to 4 person shop, you're probably in a space where you've got little time and less money. And how to use that well is a pretty big and pretty pressing concern. So we have some observations that we've made from successful indies in our App Store that we would love to share with you. Now, we are going to do something new this year. After each session, if you've got any questions, instead of handing the mic around the room, what we're going to do is we're going to meet across the hall in a meeting wrap-up area, just a little alcove right across from us. So the speakers will hustle out of the room, make room for the next speaker, and then you can join us back there for Q&A. Now, we'll be going over a fairly good amount of information in not very much time. So if you don't actually get your question framed in time for the Q&A session, don't worry about it. Go ahead and tweet your question with this hashtag in it. And we'll go ahead and we'll DM you a response so that we make sure that all of your questions, even the ones you come up with later, get covered. Now, here's a really fun part. We do have, if you looked at the cards on your chair, we have a survey that we're asking you to complete after each session. It's just a couple questions long, so it won't take very much of your time. And when you complete that, you are entered for a drawing. After each session, we'll wait about 5 minutes for you guys to finish a survey, and then we'll pick a name at random, and that person will get a Fire TV stick, a Fire tablet, and one of these cool t-shirts. I mean, these are limited supply. We only printed so many, and we're not going to go out and print any more of these things. So this is your chance. And that's not all. Always wanted to say that. That's not all. You also get entered into the grand prize drawing, which we'll have at the end of the day. There will be 3 grand prizes. Each grand prize consists of the Fire TV Stick, the Fire Tablet, and an Amazon Echo, and one of these collector's limited edition t-shirts. So be sure you enter by going out and filling out a survey for all of the sessions that you listen to. So that's how we get feedback on what you do and don't like about these developer days. Also, GDC is going to send you guys a piece of mail asking how much you like the developer day. If you really want Amazon to come back, it would be really helpful if you told GDC how much you really liked having us here. That just makes the whole thing work a lot better for us, and we would really appreciate that. So, what are we going to cover today? Today we're going to cover some really neat things. I'm going to get things kicked off by talking about crafting promotions at work, and one that didn't work so well. Then we're going to have a quick coffee break if you haven't had enough coffee already. After that, we're going to hear from the Linden Labs folks about how they're running a virtual world, and they're doing actually real-time deployment in their virtual world, which is really kind of cool. We're going to feed you lunch today, which is kind of nice. And instead of just sort of having lunch and having nothing to do, you can actually have lunch and listen to 4 people who have been in their own indies that have made it through that startup phase and been successful, and people who work with indies and help them survive on the tips and tricks that they do for very little or no money that really help them survive those first kind of crucial months or 18 months. After that, we're going to listen to Snowplow. They're going to come up and talk about how they're using open source analytics on AWS to get really crucial information about their games. Another quick. And then we'll hear from our own Peter Heinrich on implementing APIs in Unity. And we're going to wrap things up with a really cool presentation by the guys from King, who are going to talk about how King's new game engine works really well with services by Amazon and Amazon Web Services, particularly for shipping updates, and it's going to be great. So I hope you have a great day today. And without any further ado, I'd like to introduce myself. A little awkward, but we're gonna go with that. And I'm gonna launch into any minute now, promotions at work, and one that doesn't. Now, why this for an indie themed day? Because we all know that promotions are a really big part of generating traffic for our app. I mean, about half of our downloads from our experience are going to come from organic traffic to your product listing page. But the other half of the traffic that you get is going to be traffic that you pay for either by creating, buying users, or by creating your own promotions that are going to have a way of pulling new users into your game, but also promotions that help you talk to your current users and get them to experience things that they haven't already experienced in your game, like in-app purchasing. So this is what we're going to talk about for promotions. And most of this comes from the data that we've gathered at the Amazon App Store, and then some of my personal experience. Because as it turns out, in addition to doing the indie thing, in addition to doing the big company thing, I actually occasionally also write my own apps and games, and I work to promote them to the small handful of people who might actually care about the stuff that I write. And I've gotten some really tough lessons that way that I'll share with you today. First of all, though, I do want to set some context. When we're talking about a promotion, really, what is a promotion? Isn't a promotion just sort of a kind of a nice way of saying an ad? Well, maybe. But for the context of today's discussion, I want to define a promotion as an ad that actually has a call to action included in it. It may be a call to action to download a free game. It may be a call to action to get a free 2-for-1 gem pack deal. There are a handful of different calls to action that you may choose to put in your promotion. But the fact that it includes a call to action is what's going to, for today's conference, is going to be the difference between an ad and a promotion. Now, what that means is a promotion could be a banner ad, it could be an interstitial, it could be lots of different forms. Facebook campaign, for example, is the one I'm going to start with. So there are lots of different forms that this can take. I'm going to stop short of video ads because I only have so much of the day to use. But the interesting thing is there's no such thing as a really bad promotion vehicle. I mean, Facebook promotions aren't good and they're not bad. I mean, I've seen successful Facebook promotions and, well, less successful Facebook promotions. So it's more in how we execute on creating those promotions and what we put in them that makes the difference. And so we're going to start with some of my own personal experience in a Facebook promotion that I created for one of my apps. Okay, it's a little embarrassing that this comes under the heading of why promotions fail, but I figure I'd go ahead and share that with you in any case. Now, my promotion didn't actually fail on all of these points, but these points are actually pretty important. The ones I've got up here by no means are an exhaustive list of why promotions fail. For example, you can always have terrible graphics. You can always mess up your ad copy so that it's got spelling mistakes or grammar errors, or maybe it just doesn't sound good. So you can make all kinds of errors that'll mess up your promotion. I've chosen to share these with you because these are the hardest ones to detect if your graphics are great and your copy is tight. Because if everything looks good and sounds good, you can still be making these mistakes and tank your promotion. So I want to show you guys how to recognize these problems and how you can fix them so that your promotions become more successful. So, first of all, my Facebook ad. First of all, what am I advertising? I'm actually in this Facebook promotion selling t-shirts that are a complement to the Alexa or Echo skill that I wrote for the Amazon Echo. And it may be hard for those of you in back to read the printing on the shirts here. And that's actually a really big problem because looking at some promotion shouldn't require you guys to do work. I mean, it should be really obvious. It should be easy to see. And what I've done here by asking you to kind of focus, get up close and read what's written on the shirt, I'm asking you to do work. Okay, wrong way to start off a promotion. So I started off by making even a more basic mistake by screwing up my graphics. But, okay, back to my ad. These shirts have quotes printed on them. And the quotes reflect what is on the Alexa Quotes app that I wrote. And it was a great idea because the Echo skill would promote the t-shirts would promote the Echo skill, really great cross-promotion, people are happy, I make money, it's wonderful, and actually, it is actually a really good idea. The problem was in my execution. I mean, I got, 6 likes for this thing? Not even my mom liked it. That's how bad it was. Okay, so I'll share with you kind of how I learned not to do promotions. So the first thing I failed at was making an emotional connection with my audience. I mean, quotes. Really, who cares? What's the big deal about this? I mean, does seeing some tiny gold print on a black shirt that you're not even sure you want to read, where's the motivator in that? And this is something that you really have to answer for the audience that's going to see your promotion, is why should they care? Now, a lot of times when people try to encourage folks to care, they'll go ahead and they'll throw in a bunch of statistics. They'll go ahead and throw in a bunch of numbers or metrics about how great it is, the thing that they're promoting. Not necessarily the best way to generate emotional interest, because all of the stats and numbers that you guys have, I mean, we love gathering metrics from our games, right? All of those things will support an emotionally connecting story, but they don't replace an emotionally connecting story. And that's a big thing. I mean, think about the promotions that you've seen that have worked really well. I mean, I'm assuming you guys all remember the old Apple ads where you had the really cool Apple dude and the really kind of frumpy PC dude. Okay, this is the part where you raise your hands and tell me if you remember that. Because this is going to be a real short story if I don't see a lot of hands. Okay, enough hands went up. And we remember that because, I mean, there's this really cool young Apple guy and this really kind of frumpy PC guy. And the frumpy PC guy, nobody wants to be that guy. I mean, I remember kind of being the geek and kind of being teased by the cool kids. And the Apple ad taps into that anxiety about getting teased by the cool kids so that none of us actually want to be that frumpy guy getting teased by the cool kids. We all went through that in high school, and none of us want to have to go through that again professionally. Apple did a brilliant job of tapping into that and making us really care and want to identify with Apple. You'll notice that you probably can't remember a single statistic or a single number that went in those ads. But you remember how you felt after you watched them, right? So how about the promotions that you're making for your games? Are you showing an image that evokes something powerful? Are you using any copy that kind of reminds people or evokes an emotional connection or an image? If not, it's something that we're going to want to think about doing. The next thing I kind of messed up in my promotion was value. I mean, if you are emotionally connected, why should you actually take the time and effort to get it? Because really, even if what you're doing is trying to get people to click on a link to download your freemium game, it doesn't cost them any money, but it doesn't mean it's free of cost. There's an opportunity cost there. I mean, think about all the games that you guys don't download because, well, not because it isn't free, but because the opportunity cost isn't worth it. No one has answered that question for you. And boy, I certainly didn't answer that question when I did my Facebook ad. So think about how you make that benefit really clear. We'll talk about how we can make that emotional attachment and get that clear benefit as we progress here. The next thing that we often do wrong, and I certainly got wrong, was audience targeting. Now, this is how I targeted my Facebook ad. It's kind of obvious when I put it in a slide and present it to a bunch of developers, but at the time, this made perfect sense. Because remember, I've got an Echo skill. Echo, mobile technology, advanced, leading edge stuff. I'm trying to attract people who've got these devices and are leading edge, because the people who love this technology are going to want the skill that I wrote about founding fathers quotes. So computer people are my target market for political quotes. Really? Well, okay, not when you actually walk through it that way, is it? I had failed to do any kind of a marketing plan and failed to recognize who my target market actually was. It turns out that confusing people who have a delivery technology for the people who would actually care about what I did, big mistake, big mistake. We'll talk about how to target your audience soon. The one mistake I didn't make in my Facebook promotion was bad timing. As a matter of fact, my timing was brilliant. There was a big election going on. Everybody was talking about the vision of the founding fathers. Everyone was talking about politics from one side or another. So I had myself all set up for success. Had I not made a train wreck of absolutely everything else, this would have worked out really well. But even if you're really tight on your copy and your graphics are beautiful and you've got all of your messaging of value and emotions played out, if you mess up your timing, it can still be a really terrible promotion. I mean, think about the guy who has an amazing cold drink stand in the middle of Central Park in January. Okay, that might do really well in August, but in January, people are probably looking for hot chocolate. And he's got the wrong timing for promoting what he should be selling at a different time. We'll talk about how this relates to inventories of hardened currency, soft currency, and IAP items so that you get a pretty good idea of when to run a sale. So, how do you avoid making these mistakes and how can you make these good connections? Well, I'd like to start with how you make an emotional connection with your customer base. This is actually going to be easier than a lot of you think. All right, this is not actually a remarkable fail on finding stock art for my slide deck. I am actually showing an elephant with a rider very intentionally. And it's because of a doctoral candidate at the University of Virginia who decided that he could represent our emotional decision-making sides as sort of an elephant and our rational decision-making side as this little tiny rider sitting on top of this great big elephant. And I absolutely love this analogy because we may want the elephant to move, but it's going to be really tough for us to get the elephant to go somewhere it doesn't want to go. And the rider's got that same problem. Now, quick aside here. I'm not the only one to use this analogy. Dan and Chip Heath, in their book Switch, also use this analogy. And that has got to be one of the very best business books I've ever written. So guys, now's when you pull out your phone, open Notepad, and take a note that you want to get the book Switch by Dan and Chip Heath. Not only is it a great book, but you'll also get to revisit our elephant and rider if it turns out that you like these guys. So, when did actually writing a promotion become about changing someone's behavior? I mean, that's what the slide says. And it's actually true, because when you think about the behavior that we all exhibit when we see promotions, it's pretty much ignore, isn't it? We're really good about ignoring promotions. And if we want the people who see our promotions not to ignore it, we've got to work on changing their behavior. And changing their behavior is going to come in two super critical parts: moving the elephant and getting the rider interested in getting the elephant going in the right direction. So, knowing that, let's start talking about how we make that emotional connection and get that elephant to start moving. In your game, there is something that people absolutely love. Hopefully, when you were doing your game design, you kind of figured out what mechanic that was that really got people engaged and got people involved. But when they play your game or when they spend money in your game, it's because of this thing that they can identify with. It's this thing that kind of helps them express who they are and what they feel. It kind of is that emotional pull that gets people to stay in, play, and love your game. This is what we want to identify and actually include in our promotions. So, when we looked at the apps that are doing well in the App Store, we noticed a certain theme about emotional connections that successful games are making with their customers. The first one is an appeal to collectors. People love having unique stuff, having rare stuff. And Gameville certainly figured this out. In their game that we're seeing here, the Critica's White Knights, they had avatars that were pretty darn cool and rare. And that's a really good example of how creating something rare and unique really appeals to people that they want to collect or get. Think back to anyone you know who's ever done stamp collecting, right? They really want to have a full set or an entire set of something, because that being complete on something is an emotional pull. It's an emotional draw. I mean, you guys remember the state quarters that all had the states on the back of the quarter, right? Anyone ever go out of their way just a little bit to get a specific state? Anyone? Yeah, I know, kind of embarrassing, but I did that. Did anyone actually collect a full set of those? Yeah, you're my people. Okay, you're like me. You like completing a collection. And if your game has that kind of a mechanic in it that supports people feeling good about having or completing a collection, you've got a game mechanic that appeals to people emotionally, and you should absolutely think about how you're going to use this in your promotion, because it's going to be something that helps move a lot of elephants into changing their behavior and clicking on your call to action in your promotion. One of the other really strong emotional pulls that we see in games is the ability to associate and identify with groups that you really want to be like, or that you really want to be a part of. So I'm playing a lot of Niantic Ingress. Do we have any Ingress players out there? A few. Okay. So it doesn't really matter whether, basically Ingress, the precursor to the Pokemon game, you can either play the blue side or the red side, and you have to go ahead and take over all of these real-world geographic markers and prevent the other team from taking them back. And when you associate with either the red team or the blue team, I mean, they become your people. And you don't want your blue stuff taken over by the red team, or your red team doesn't want to lose territory to the blue team. And you feel an obligation to kind of go in there and pitch in for your team. I mean, the clan system does a remarkably good job of this. And a lot of people can really identify with being part of that larger clan. Sometimes it's even smaller than that, and it's actually an elite unit, a group of 5 or 6 guys who are the ultimate dungeon crawlers or the ultimate strike force team in Battlefield, and they want to be part of an elite crowd. If you have a game that recognizes these mechanics and will let people get skins or badge or associate publicly or identify with those groups, this can be really strong in helping you build promotions that attract these kinds of players, that attract these kinds of people. So think about how you can promote being part of that larger group or being part of a team by taking advantage of your call to action that would encourage people to, encourage your existing customers to spend IAP money in support of larger team goals, or to join a team that matches their particular affiliation for people who just want to download the game. Now, once you've got people in a faction or in a team enjoying the game, everybody loves to be recognized for things they do well. And this is where things like leaderboard and achievements come in. A huge emotional draw for players to stick with a game. It really improves retention, player retention, and it really improves engagement. How many people have leaderboards and achievements in the game you're working on? Seriously, less than half the room? Okay, I'll assume that a few people didn't raise their hands because that's just not what you do. But still, that means like a third of the room doesn't have leaderboards or achievements in your game. Okay, that means it's story time. I remember I downloaded this geography application that I could use to teach my son the capitals of different countries in the world. And he would play, I would play. Of course, I got a better score than he did when we were playing. He was 12 years old. And so everything was good. I'd beaten him. He'd learned something. And then I'm sitting in the office, and I'm in a meeting, and I get a device message on my phone. So I look at that. My son has just beaten my high score. Really? He's 12. I fly around the world for a living. Okay, I can fix this. I play the game once. I beat him. I'm back on top of the leaderboard. Everything's great until I'm back at my desk, and I get another notification. Guess who's beaten my high score again? I mean, seriously? Doesn't this kid have anything else to do? Well, I sure don't. So I sat there and I played the game a couple times, and finally I beat his high score again. This went on for a week. I'm not kidding. And it was the dumbest little game. It was a map of the world, and it would show you a picture of a country and ask you to pick from 4 choices what the capital was. Any of you could have built this in a weekend. I played that game for a week, longer than it deserved, because I couldn't let my son beat me on leaderboards and achievements. Think about how many more ad impressions that is. Think about how many more eyeballs that is just for your game. All right. To kind of wrap up that story, he ended up getting every single capital of every single country correct. So the best that I would ever be able to do is tie him but not beat him. Honestly, I never got close. I gave up and I just let him own that one. But I mean, that's the kind of benefit that leaderboards and achievements can get for even just a silly little geography game. So guys, put that in your game if it's not there already. 2, if you can promote people who are doing really well in the game, and if you can show a promotion that actually turns some of your higher performers into rock stars, or if you can target based on regional associations, based on where people live, and show regional players who are doing well in a promotion, join the team, be like these guys. Of course, you need to get their permission first, or you show an abstracted screen name. Then you can actually really improve your download rate and the attachment rate to that promotion. The best mechanic I've seen of this isn't actually a game, actually it's TripAdvisor. Did you know that on TripAdvisor, I am the number 2 fast food restaurant reviewer in the little town of Sammamish, Washington? That's right. And if I just fill out 3 more reviews, I'm going to be number 1. That rocks. And then once I'm number 1, I'm probably going to be like 3rd or 4th on the Seattle metro area list. But I'll always be really close. I'll always be right about to get to that next achievable level where I can be recognized. And that's a huge emotional draw for players, being recognized. Here's another one that you can actually leverage into really successful promotions. In Casual Connect Berlin, which was not that long ago, I was sitting with a developer who wanted to encourage people to spend more money in his game. So what he did was he created a badge for everyone who spent over $1,000 in his game. $1,000. Okay, to me that seems like a lot of money. So I'm thinking that not many people are going to get these badges. When he started giving people these badges, what he found out was that the number of people every month who hit that $1,000 mark went up 300%. Just so that you can tell everyone you spend a lot of money on a game? Well, almost. Because when they had that badge, their peers in the game knew that they took the game seriously. And it was okay for them to invite this guy into their high-performing clan because he was taking the game seriously and he was willing to put his money where his mouth was when it came time to performing really well and having all the cool stuff in the game. So what did he do? He put that in a promotion. Hey, join the ranks of the elite. You can start your way to that $1,000 now because I'm going to give you 2 armor kits for the price of 1 if you click here. And it was a deep link into the game for people who'd already had the game. And guess what? He found an even larger increase in the number of people who were actually spending $1,000 on in-app purchases in his game because he appealed to that emotional mechanic. Guys, take a look at what makes your game super popular. Now, if you can take some of that emotional attachment that you know is in your game and put that into your promotions, we're going to get that elephant moving in the right direction. And once we've got the elephant moving in the right direction, now we need to get the rider convinced that it's a good idea to go there. Without the rider to direct the elephant on how to get there and where to go, you're kind of a lot like this board of directors up here on the screen. And that's not a good thing because you can't just create this promotion and then hope a miracle happens and that somehow it becomes appealing to people. Even if you've got the elephant really excited about getting that gem pack or really excited about downloading the game with an amazingly cool graphic, you've still got to convince the rider that, yeah, I know that we may want it, but I know it's not the right thing to get it. So what's going to convince the rider that it's okay to get it, even knowing that we want it? Well, I'll tell you what, that's going to come down to expressing the value that you're giving to the user, that you're giving to the person reading that promotion. Every promotion that you create needs to answer that question, is it worth it? I mean, think about what would get you to go ahead and download a game. Maybe it's because the graphic and the promotion is really cool. Maybe it's because there's a really funny tagline that makes you remember a movie that you really enjoyed from the 80s or 90s. Whatever it is, there's got to be something that says, hey, and you're going to enjoy this, and it's going to be worth the time and effort. Even if it's not money, it's going to be worth the time and effort that you invest in this. So you don't actually have to have copy that literally says, my game is worth your time because. But you do need to show what makes your game fun and unique. I do a lot of game judging in the course of my job. I see, I don't know, close to 400 or 500 games, different games every year at least. And I can't tell you how many match 3 games I end up watching and looking at every year. Most of these match 3 games I dread because what makes your match 3 game different than everything else out there? My gems are purple. Okay, really, no, don't do that. Now, sometimes I see a match 3 game that's really clever. I saw one not too long ago where you're working on the match 3 game, but when you get stuck and you can't make any more matches, you know what you do? You turn the device and everything falls into a new place. Okay, that's kind of a cool mechanic, isn't it? That's kind of a different twist on a match 3 game. And you know what? If you show me that in a promotion, I'm going to be convinced that there's more value in my spending time to download and try that game because you've just showed me a cool mechanic that I think is going to be worth my investment in trying that game. So find out what makes your game unique and different from the others in its category, and that's going to give the elephant permission. Your writer is going to help give the elephant permission to go download that game and give it a try. So when you make a promotion, make sure you're answering the question, is it worth it? Wonderful. except if maybe your match 3 game doesn't turn sideways. I mean, Hearthstone, they've got these beautiful cards that really appeal to collectors. They know this, and they're smart, and they use this in their promotions because it's totally cool and totally collectible. And if you don't have that, well, you're not totally sunk, actually, because there's still something that we can do that falls back on a time-proven tradition: offer a discount. And if you offer people a way to save money, guess what? The writer is going to be drawn to that. And it also actually makes your promotion fairly easy to craft, because if you're going to go ahead and offer a discount, you can create a promotion like this: spend less, get more. Okay, that's actually a pretty clean copy. It gets straight to the point. And your elephant already wants Hearthstone card packs. Your elephant may already really like the game Hearthstone, but you've just not spent any money on in-app purchasing. This tells the writer it's okay for the elephant to go and spend money because you're going to spend less and you're going to get more. This is an example of a promotion that we did with Amazon Coins as a way to reduce the total expense that customers have. But there are more ways to do this, including Amazon Coins, and they include temporary price reductions. And most of the app stores offer good tools for this. Amazon actually has a promotion console that you can use on our app store that help you actually create money off for app stores. And we're going to get some really dramatic music while I talk about how to use this console. When you want to save your customers money, and I had the soundtrack going and everything. When you want to save your customers money, you want to create a promotion that offers money, a discount to something. Go ahead and open the Amazon App Store Promotions console. You can choose a date range. You can choose how much you want to discount the item by. It's pretty cool. And it's a really great way to kind of see how you're going to do that. You can do temporary price drops to help add value to your promotions. And the nice thing about it when you do that with our tool is you'll actually get some pretty good reporting. Not only do you get the reporting, but it's pretty easy to use. I mean, it's pretty simple. You click price drop, you type in the dates, you type in the discount that you want to give. And then to find out if your promotion is actually making you more money or costing you money as people use it, we'll actually go ahead and show you. This is an example of the reporting that we generate from the promotions console. And while I've taken out the app name to protect the developer who did this, what I want you to pay attention to is the effect over there on the right-hand side. The effect of this promotion was an 84% increase in revenue, which means that selling more stuff at a lower price actually resulted in the developer earning more money. Okay, this is easy to misinterpret. You can't just go to the promotion console, lower the price, and everybody jumps up and down and starts throwing money at you. That's not the way it works. This was well promoted. This went into a promotion that had a graphic that really appealed to the elephant because they showed the boss death at level 10, which is actually a pretty cool picture. And they told you that you could get the game for half off. Okay, so if the elephant really wants to get that cool picture, the writer is thinking, well, I can get it for less. I suppose that's a decent enough reason for me to go ahead and click on the call to action, which was sending them to the product detail page, the product listing page. The product listing page did a really good job of further documenting how cool the game was, making the elephant really engaged, and how much it's really worth spending just half as much as it usually costs. So the landing page really did the hard sell of getting people to buy that premium app. But you know what got them to the landing page? A promotion that promoted value for the rider and emotion for the elephant. Guys, your promotions are going to do so much better if you can appeal to the elephant and the rider. All right. You've got the elephant really excited, which is a cool thing because you're never going to push them around. You've got the rider willing to direct the elephant down the appropriate path, down the call to action. But you got to think, are your promotions actually talking to elephants and riders, or are they off talking to 2 llamas and a goat somewhere that don't even play games, right? You've got to reach your right target audience. And this is a big mistake that I made in my promotion, so much that I came up with a really catchy little saying, and that promoting your app without knowing who your target market is like using a fire extinguisher to put out fires when you don't know which room the fire is in. You spend a lot of resources and a lot of time doing absolutely no good whatsoever. Don't be like me. Don't do that. And the way I want you to start thinking about your target market is not just, I want you to think about it in 2 kinds of groups. People who are already playing your game that you want to maybe engage more with in-app purchasing, or people who aren't playing your game at all, which is what I wanted people to do, buy the shirt and get the Echo skill. When you want to target customers who aren't playing your game, you need to go ahead and send your promotion to people who aren't where you want your players to already be. So I want you to think outside your app. To reach new customers and to help retain existing customers better, think about where they're hanging out when they're actually not playing your game or they're not in your app. I mean, if they're already cruising the App Store, well, that's kind of probably where you want them to be. But where do these people hang out when they're not there? And this is really important because, for example, trying to market your story-based game to me is going to be a complete waste of your time. If you want to market your tower defense game to me, then I'm a sucker and I'm probably going to take advantage of the first thing that's remotely appealing to my elephant and rider. So how do you reach me with your tower defense game? Well, you don't put ads in generic app stores where I'm going to see them along with story-based games. You look for those news groups or those games that may have chat sessions like on any of the HTML game places. You can go ahead and put promotions there. If you've got a cookie clicker game that has a Renaissance theme to it, why not advertise in Renaissance-themed websites like the Society for Creative Anachronism, the people who run around looking like knights and damsels and go around hitting each other with swords? That's a perfect place to go ahead and advertise your Renaissance-themed cookie clicker game. Because while it may not be apparent that they would love the technology, they love the theme, and you'll be targeting people who have a natural affinity for the kind of thing that you've just created. It's certainly worth a $5 advertisement in the local Renaissance fair, even a print promotion, where the call to action is, go to this bit.ly URL and get this really cool Renaissance-themed game. Most people are going to take a lot more advantage of that than you think. Another way that you can reach people is if you're going to promote a special event that you have. For example, a great way to retain customers in your game is to have a special event like a level. For the next 48 hours, you can play this level. Whoever wins and beats the boss at level 10 gets this amazing blue Vorpal sword. It's not available anywhere else in the game except this weekend only if you beat the boss at level 10. Okay, that's kind of cool. And if your game is somewhat popular, or if you've gotten people to write about your game in the press in the past, you can get other people to help promote your promotion. Okay, this is great because now you're getting more promotion value than you've actually paid for in the promotion, which is wonderful. Bloggers and streamers don't care if you're offering half off a coin pack. They're not. But they may care if you can get a blue Vorpal sword that's not available any other time or any other place in the game. So look for the people who are blogging or who are doing streaming about the kind of game that you have and make sure that they know about it. It's a long shot, but when they pick it up, it can be a real huge turbocharged boost to your promotion and really help you amplify your reach to the audience that you want to talk to. So targeting existing customers is really valuable because you can use these rare items to help get more people to re-engage with your game. So if people have played your game and have dropped out, maybe having one of these promotions that advertises a special session, for example, this weekend-only special level, will help people back in the game. And by doing that, you can actually appeal to influencers, advocates, and content creators that will come and make a special thing about your game. Now, It's a lot easier to say target influencers than it is to actually do it. But if you have kept track of people in your game who have ever rated your game, you're halfway there. Because one of the important things to remember if you want to target influencers with your promotion is that influencers as a group are not synonymous with payers as a group. Just because they're influential doesn't mean that they're using all of the things that you've put into your game. So, people who are influencers, people who have rated your game on the App Store, when you have a dialog box that says, would you like to rate this game, do you remember who the users are when they click yes? You probably have that data, don't you? You probably know who they are. And if you're keeping track of that, now you've got this really great store of data of who some people who are potential influencers are. And you can offer those people who have rated your game special deals to help encourage them to try some of the extra content that you've put behind an IAP wall so that they can get a better experience and maybe be more active in advocating about your game. So that's one way that you can use some of the tools that you already have in your game to start targeting influencers with promotions so that the promotion dollars that you spend will be better spent targeting people who can make a bigger difference. All right, so now you're targeting more of the right people with stuff that moves the elephant and gets the writer to say it's okay. We've talked about one of the kinds of promotions being a sale promotion. So when is a good time to have a sale, and when is a not good time to have a sale? Well, sales can really hurt if they train your customers to wait for a sale. I was talking to a lot of people earlier this year who say that when they're on Steam, well, they never buy anything at full price, because if they just wait a week or so, there's going to be a sale, and they're never going to have to pay full price for anything. That can be harmful if you set up a regular cadence in your game for sales of gem packs or hard or soft currency. You'll train people never to pay full price. That's not something you want to do. You also don't want to postpone future revenue that you're going to get. So getting people to spend less today instead of more tomorrow is not really a great trade-off, particularly if you find out that it doesn't increase total revenue. And again, you can find this out by using the Amazon Promotion Console, whether or not you're actually increasing total revenue over what you were getting before the promotion. And it's a super big problem if offering people a discount on the stuff they buy doesn't actually help you retain users. So what does a successful sale look like? It has an irregular cadence so that you're not training people, and it's timed when a user inventory of something is low. And it almost always has a way to absorb new purchases. So let me give you an example of that. Game where you can either buy soft or hard currency, coins, or you can buy power-ups, stuff that you can actually acquire with your hard or soft currency. So what do you want to put on sale? Do you want to put the currency on sale or the stuff the currency buys on sale? Well, a lot of that's going to depend on the inventory in your game. So if you've got a game and you want to put something on sale, well, you could either put the coins on sale 2 for 1, or you can make the power-ups half as expensive. But take a look at your inventories first. If the inventory that the average player is hanging on to, if the average person in your game is now collecting and holding on to a lot more coins than they used to, well, why would they ever want to buy more coins if they're not using the coins that they're currently hanging on to? Well, if they've got a fairly low inventory of power-ups, one of the things you might want to do to encourage people to replenish that inventory is to put the power-ups on sale. When you put the power-ups on sale, now the writer says, hey, you know those power-ups that we've been using? We can actually replace those at a really good price because I've got all this currency I'm hanging on to, and now I've finally got a good place to spend it. And the inverse is true too. If you've got a whole bunch of people who've got a lot of gems but are really low on currency, maybe you can encourage them to part with some of those gems that they're hoarding, some of those power-ups that they're hoarding, if they know that it's easy for them to acquire more once they've used those power-ups. I mean, think about the games you play. How often do you go ahead and if you've got 10 power-ups, you'll use the first 8 pretty quickly, but boy, do you hang on to those last 2, don't you? You don't use those nearly as quickly because, dude, you've only got 2 left. But what happens if the currency that it takes to buy those power-ups goes on sale, and all of a sudden it's a lot easier to buy those? Well, heck, I'm going to go ahead and buy another 10-pack. Now I've got 12 power-ups, and I'm going to go through 10 of those really quickly until I'm back down to 2. So make sure you take a look at the inventories of items in your game and plan what you put on sale accordingly. It'll help you get the timing right, it'll help you put the right thing on sale, and it'll help make sure that you're increasing total revenue and engagement in the game with the promotions that you run. Because if the promotions that you run don't ultimately help you make more money in your game and help increase engagement with your game, why are you doing them at all? So these are the 3 things that I really want you to take home with you. I know I've tossed a lot of data at you, but I really want you to be able to move the elephant with your promotion. I want you to make it okay for the rider to let the elephant want it. And I want you to make sure that you're actually reaching a really good target audience with your ad spend, with your promotion spend. That's super important. And, well, I also really want you to do this on the Amazon App Store. Not only do we have some really cool tools like the promotion tool I talked about, we have Amazon Coins, which can help add a lot of value, but we're also probably going to work perfectly with the app that you've already written for Android. I mean, 85% of the Android apps people submit just work without any additional engineering. We do sell in 236 different countries and territories worldwide, which is actually pretty impressive given the customer base that we have. And more of our customers will actually buy something than in any other app store. So please do give Amazon some thought when you think about what to do with that APK you've just finished. And particularly if you're coding with Unity, how easy it is just to go ahead and submit that to the Amazon App Store. Now, you're not done, because you've got a work item here. It's not raising your hand. Actually, what I need you to do right now is go over to Dev Day Survey, bit.ly Dev Day Survey, and I need you to take 2 or 3 minutes to fill out the survey, because in 4 minutes from now, someone's going to run up here with a piece of paper. It's just like the Oscars. And the winner is, and I'm going to let you know who's going to get a Fire tablet, a Fire TV stick, and one of these amazing t-shirts. So go ahead and start filling out those surveys, and we'll announce a winner shortly. Excuse me, I need to talk to Vanna White here. Yes?
We are going to raffle 10 shirts.
What?
We are going to raffle 10 shirts after the survey. So there's going to be the prize and 10 shirts. So there's going to be 11 winners.
Wow. Okay. I don't know if you guys were able to pick that up over the microphone or not, but this is cool. Due to having a few more t-shirts than I thought we had, we're actually going to have one raffle for the devices, and we're going to actually have another 10 winners for shirts. I'm not exactly sure what size shirts we're going to be giving out to you guys, so feel free to barter outside after you guys get your shirts. You have like 3 minutes. No pressure, guys, but you've got like 3 minutes left. You can't find the name of the session? Is that not actually? Hey, guys. Oh, you need the cap. All right. So if you have the capitals, it works. Gotcha. Okay. So capitalization is really important here. Yeah, that's without the capitals. So if you don't use the capitals, you get to an event we did in Casual Connect in San Francisco last year. So apparently we didn't go ahead and change that in Bitly. So go ahead and use the caps, capital D, capital S, and you should get to the right place. And my soundtrack is back. But I'm out of stuff to talk about to the soundtrack.
Talk about how to push the elephant, use sound.
There we go. Adding music to your promotions. Just in case the level of the anxiety in the room wasn't enough, we'll add a little bit more tension and let you know that there's about 90 seconds left. Seriously, so I'm trying to create that scarcity effect, trying to kind of bring up that emotional issue where you feel the need to kind of hurry up and get that finished so that you have the chance to win one of the amazing shirts or one of the devices that we have. Meanwhile, I'm glaring into the back of the room, looking for staff that's going to be running up at any time in the next 45 seconds with a piece of paper. So quick, tell us how much you love us and what you really want to see us do next year, and then hit submit. All right, that's all the time you get to fill those out. Could I have one of the staff in the back of the room run out and let the people know that we're ready for the winner? Yes. Ah, wonderful. Thank you. You know what's in here, right? Kind of cool. Now I got to show it to you because this is the kind of stuff the elephant digs, right? Inside this bag, amazing prizes. All of those really cool things that I talked about are in this bag. And it's kind of a cool bag you get to keep too. Okay, maybe your elephant doesn't really care about the bag, but the rider's thinking, I can use that for groceries. Yeah, so this really good promotional stuff. And I'm just going to leave that right here so y'all can see it while we wait for the envelope from Prize Control. All right, two Adams were walking down the street. No, seriously, I'm going to go there. Two Adams were walking down the street. One of them says, gosh darn it, I lost an electron. What, are you sure? Yeah, I'm positive. Yeah, I really hope that envelope comes soon. Wonderful. And we have the envelope. All right. The survey winner is Charlie Edward Spiegert here. Yes! Congratulations, Charlie! You've just won this amazingly elephant attractive collection of hardware and t-shirt from Amazon. Woohoo! Thank you, Charlie. And now, we're going to start handing out some shirts. Justin Banks? Hey, Justin, got a shirt for you. All right. I'm sorry? Okay, it turns out we have medium, large, and extra large. I just threw a medium at you. Is that what you need?
Small would be good.
Small is not happening. We can give you a medium. All right, next name. Thomas Dayton. Thomas Gayton. And you would like a medium, large? Medium, done. Congratulations. Corey DeBat. Corey DeBat. And you would like a medium, done. Okay, he's open. And there's the pass. Touchdown. Anthony Cloudy. All right, you would like a done. Oh my gosh, here's an XL for you. Wonderful. Go for a touchdown on that one. John Gleicher. John. All right. Size. Medium, done. There you go. Scott, boy, I'm going to have a tough time with this one. Birkencotter. Scott Burkett, was I even close? All right. Medium. I think that's a medium. Okay, now we've got larges and extra larges left. Okay, I was just replenished with mediums. This is wonderful. This is the benefit for being here for the first session of the day, because by the end of the day, seriously not going to be having any of your size. Uros Sikimic. Oh, okay. Size. There we go. Man after my own heart. Thank you. Ryan Walsh. Ryan. Woohoo. Large. Done. Jeffrey Kelly.
Yes.
Done. There you go. Daniel Ramiro Perez. Mr. Perez. Size. Large. And the last, but hopefully having your size.
Joe Kiger.
Joe Kiger. Or Kiger. Kiger? Kiger? All right. What size would you like? Can you bring me back a large? Okay, you're going to have to be a little awkward and wait up front while I get you a large. But we still have larges left. Guys, we're going to have a 20-minute coffee break. Be back here at 11:15, and we're going to have another session for you guys. Thank you. Here's your large. Where'd he go?